So people are now saying that it's an obvious political prosecution of Trump, right? This is crazy that they're doing this. And this is because Donald Trump would probably beat Joe Biden and Ron DeSantis if he ran for president again. And so now people are saying that Joe Biden tipped his hand that they would do anything to try to stop Donald Trump from running, right? You remember? So he said this. So watch this. So this guy tweets this out. This is from November 9th. He said this. So he was being asked about Donald Trump declaring he's going to run for president, and this is what Joe Biden, how he responded back then.
The entire genesis of that G7 conversation was tied to your predecessor, who is about to launch another campaign. So how do you reassure them, if that is the reason for their questioning, that the former president will not return, or that his political movement, which is still very strong, will not once again take power in the United States?
So he's asking him, how do you reassure, I don't know who reassures somebody, that Donald Trump won't take power again? And then this guy says, because he has still a very powerful political organization, and Biden laughs at it and says, oh yeah, well then, if he doesn't have a strong political organization, why are you saying the next thing he says?
Well, we just have to demonstrate that he will not take power by if he does run, making sure he, under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again.
That's a weird way to say that.
We have to make sure that he, under the Constitution, he doesn't become president again.
He doesn't get elected again.
It sounds very much like when he was asked about the Nord Stream pipeline.
I just thought that.
Yeah, watch this.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly? Since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
So
the one promise he kept.
The one promise he kept, because they already had plans to blow up that Nord Stream pipeline before Putin ever invaded. But watch this. So let's watch it again.
Better.
The entire genesis of that conversation was tied to your predecessor, who is about to launch another campaign. So how do you reassure them, if that is the reason for their questioning, that the former president will not return, or that his political movement, which is still very strong, will not once again take power in the United States?
Well, we just have to demonstrate that he will not take power by if he does run, making sure he, under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again.
See, if we could charge him with a felony under the Constitution, he can't run for president again if he's got a felony conviction out of blah blah blah. So that's what's so that's the thing. Believe me, just like when this guy said he was the FBI guy in charge of investigating. He said, we're going to stop Trump. What if he becomes president? He's not ever going to become president, right? No, he won't. We'll stop it. That's the guy at the FBI in charge of the investigation was saying, we're going to stop Trump. The FBI will stop Trump from becoming president. And they launched the Russiagate bullshit. They launched all those bullshit investigations. They lied to get FISA warrants so they could tap their phones. They tried everything. And this is what they've come up with. They've come up with this bullshit paying hush money thing to a porn star. Is there ever a president who ever did anything like that? They've all done way worse. They're all war criminals, and now and so people are saying the reason why they're doing this, of course the reason why they're doing this is so Donald Trump can't run for president again. And they say it came right from Joe Biden, right? So when Joe Biden said that, when Joe Biden said this about the Nord Stream pipeline, he backed it up. They blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. So when Joe Biden says we're going to stop him through constitutional means, so all of a sudden Joe Biden then sends one of his top guys at the Justice Department. Joe Biden sends him. He goes to work at the Manhattan DA's office.
Oh, well, I apologize to George Soros, I'd like to say.
So after Trump announces he's running for president, they send this guy over to the Manhattan DA hires ex-justice official to help lead Trump inquiry. His name is Matthew Colangelo, right? And the hire marks the latest turn in a long-running investigation that has proceeded in fits and starts in recent years. When Mr. Bragg took over in January, his predecessor, Cyrus Vance Jr., had directed prosecutors to begin presenting evidence about Mr. Trump's inflation of his assets to a grand jury. That thing that all real estate, everybody does. When I was at the Young Turks, when they were trying to get funding, they inflated their numbers of it, all kinds of stuff like that.
Vice Media famously did that.
They all do that. Everybody does this when you're trying to get funding. Everybody inflates, and everybody knows they inflate. And then you try to depreciate when you're trying to file your taxes. And so they tried to turn that. They tried to get him on that. It didn't work.
Jon Stewart thought that it was going to lead to this. That's what he thought, yeah.
But Mr. Bragg grew concerned about the strength of that case. In February, when he told the two senior prosecutors leading the investigation that he was not prepared to authorize charges, they resigned. Those two prosecutors, they resigned, clouding the future of the inquiry. So then Mr. Bragg insisted that it was continuing the investigation. Even though those other guys quit, we're still going to continue this investigation into Trump, even though we don't have anything. And in recent months, his prosecutors, led by the office's head of investigations, Susan Hoffinger, have renewed their focus on a hush money payment to a porn star who said she had an affair with Mr. Trump. So when Trump says this is a witch hunt, that's what this is revealing in the New York Times, that they're just trying to find something. They're just trying to find, so they keep shifting and trying. And then Joe Biden sends this guy over there from the Justice Department because he knows stuff about, right after Trump declares that he's running, Joe Biden sends that guy over to the Manhattan DA, and his name is Mr. Colangelo, has broad knowledge of the Trump organization's business practices and extensive litigation experience. He comes to the investigation having spent little time working on white-collar criminal prosecutions. He has never been a line prosecutor or worked as a criminal defense lawyer. So don't you think that his marching orders when he went over to work at the Manhattan DA was, you guys better find a way to get a felony prosecution on Trump so he can't run? And that's so this is because we all know this is a political thing. That's why this is happening, all because of politics. And so that guy's out, they're all political appointments. And so this guy comes over from the Justice Department and he gets his marching orders from the president. And that's what's going on. Just like we got revealed, that's what's going on there.
So wait, are you saying Alvin Bragg's going to become an MSNBC correspondent?
Probably.
Now that makes sense why he said, my girl watched it. She goes, why? He goes, I hope we can prove that Trump is, he said, I hope we can prove it. She goes, why would he say, I hope we can prove? That
Who
should
said
be
that? Who said I could hope?
Alvin Bragg.
He said, I hope. Right.
Yeah. And what do you mean? You're supposed to know you can. That's how you bring a case.
That's when you bring a case.
So he's probably getting muscled by those people. That's why he would be
they're all
like
getting muscled by the donor class. So whoever the donors are to Joe Biden, we know that it's Soros donates to that super PAC. We know George. And so whoever the donors are, they are pressuring them to do this. And by the way, Joe Biden wants this done too, because he doesn't want to have to run against Trump. The establishment wants this done, which is why this is happening. So Joe Biden didn't even have to give a command to that guy. They just had to go, hey, your new orders are you're going to the Manhattan DA and you know what you need to do. And that's what's happening. And it's right out in the open. And even CNN, this is how CNN looks at the charges. You ready?
May be or may not be your reaction now that you've had a chance to go through it. Is it what you thought it was going to be, and are you unimpressed?
It is what I thought it was going to be in terms of focusing on the payments that were made, the falsification of the records, and really tied to the payment that was made to Stormy Daniels. In terms of a case that's being brought against a former president, it's a little underwhelming. There's not more to it. There's not more violations, tax violations. There's not an incredible new set of facts that we didn't know about publicly. It's really the facts of this case as they have existed for basically almost 7 years.
And
so that's what CNN says about it. And so this makes sense to me. By the way, they put a community notes on this, trying to somehow discredit this video. So
Do they have that on the other one for the pipeline?
I don't know if they do or
The
not.
pipeline one, every time I see it, it looks so guilty. It's unbelievable.
So, so there you go. So whatever. So I'm just letting you know this is how it happens. It's obvious how it happens. This is what's happening. This guy doesn't have a case. He doesn't. They're grasping at straws to try to keep Donald Trump from running. Just like that January 6th committee was a grasp at straws also. And so this is all because of people voted for Donald Trump. People vote just like people voted for Brexit. They can't let the dirty, unwashed masses have a real hand in the governance of America. And so if they know, that's the weird thing. Hey, Joe Biden, you trounced Trump before. You said you got 81 million votes. What are you afraid of?
Yeah, I would think after all these crimes he did,
right. And now January 6th,
rocket ride to the top.
You think that'd be the guy you'd want to run against? Turns out, no, they're afraid of him, and they're doing this political prosecution, which is horrible for the rule of law. We now live it's like we live in a banana republic, third world country. This is fucking crazy because the establishment knows that they can't beat Donald Trump. They can't beat anybody.
They were really hoping that DeSantis would be the guy.
Yeah, and
they
now
really were hyping him up.
Trump's up by like 30 points on him. I saw one headline said that.
Yeah, like I still see dumb liberals complain about DeSantis. Like, do you not get you not get what he is?
Anybody who came along and promised people anything would beat DeSantis and Trump and Joe Biden handily. If somebody came along and said, I'm going to end those wars, we're going to invest that money back here. And by the way, we're going to end homelessness. We're going to end it. Homelessness that everybody wants something done about. We're going to do something about it. It's only going to cost us $40 billion. If it costs $100 billion, it's one Ukraine.
We're going to take it out of our Ukraine.
We take it out of our Ukraine money, take it out of our war budget. They just increased the war budget probably something like $200 billion since Trump became president every year. So we can do this. And if someone promised people that and actually did something and gave people jobs programs and stuff like that, like did an FDR, people would be going crazy. And the reason why everything's so bad right now is because when they put $5 trillion into the economy and during COVID, they gave it to the richest 1,000 people, which doesn't ever trickle down to those people. We already know that. FDR would take that $5 trillion and put it in the pockets of workers, and that always trickles up. That's the way it always worked. But they didn't do that, and now we're living in this world, and now they got to do stuff like this because they know they can't win an election. Go to jimmydore.com to see my new stand-up special, COVID Lies Are Funny. For only $10, you get to become a premium member, too. And come see us do our live shows. We're going to be doing stand-up comedy in Milwaukee, Nashville, Honolulu, Los Angeles, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, New York, Cohoes, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Baltimore, Maryland, and more. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.